Morning, y'all. It's very early here. Lady here. Welcome back to the couch. I've got PMS and I need to get this off my chest. So it's story time. There will be no personal names or business names used in this story, and there will probably be more than one clip. Let's go rolling. So in January of this year, I was on Indeed looking for a job, and I came across a really cool front desk job. I applied. Next day, they called me back. One interview, one orientation later, I had a start date. Sorry about that. My cat's being a pain in the ass. Okay, I got my start date. I started my new job. Within 2 weeks, I was falling in love with this job. I love this job very much. Everything was going great. End of February, we got a new manager to run the business. This was a privately owned business, and we didn't have a manager at the time. Okay, we got a new manager. Within 2 weeks, it was very apparent that this manager was underqualified to run this business. We helped her. We tried to work with her. After a couple of weeks, I just kind of did my thing. I still loved my job very much, and I still kind of went with the flow. I tried to work with the new manager. Everything was going okay at this time. March rolls around. Coronavirus, COVID, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it COVID-Rona. The COVID-Rona hit March 15th. We shut down. I stayed at home from March 15th till the first or second week in May, when I got a text, hey, do you want to come back to work? I would love to come back to work. I still love this job, and I wanted to continue to work there. I go back to find out I am the only front desk person that came back to work, and it was just me and the manager. It was very fast-paced. We were having a good time. We finally got a repertoire going. We got a system going. There was a little catch-up, a little retrain. It's really hard when the manager doesn't understand her role or your job role, what your job is. When she doesn't understand either one of your job roles, it becomes frustrating, but we kept going. Business was booming, and so we tried to hire a few more people. I was still working, 35 hours a week. Everything was good. Boom, 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 working. I guess it was around the end of July. Was it mid-July? I live in Tarrant County, Texas. I live in Arlington, and they made a mask mandate where it was mandatory for masks everywhere. Well, when that happened, business started to downfall. And so everything kind of slowed down, but, our hours were cut a little, but not too bad. And it was very, very apparent. By August, it was so apparent that the new manager was so underqualified to do her job. It was painful. And I just kept doing my job, and it was painful because when I made mistakes, the manager was also making some of the same mistakes, and she would reprimand me and other people, but yet she was making the same mistakes, and it was painful. Still loved my job. I still wanted to be there. Around late August, I'm doing pretty good, and I've been asking, I guess, since June about full-time status. I was not full-time status, and I was asking and asking about full-time status. A couple of times the manager said she would talk to the owners about me getting full-time status. All right, cool. I'll keep working. I'll keep pushing. Mid to late August. I believe it was mid-August, something like that. She tells me, oh, y'all not going to like me. I got to hire some more people, and we're cutting hours. And I thought, oh, this is going to suck. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's so underqualified. I feel it. So I wait to see what happens. And lo and behold, she starts hiring more people. At first, my hours didn't go down. But then she hired more people. And that's when one day I went to look at my schedule. And I was off like 4 days in a row without work. And so I was devastated, and I ran home. And because of COVID, you can file for temporary benefits. And I called and I explained the situation. They've cut hours again. I'm going to apply for temporary unemployment benefits. Fine. Here's your date to request your payment. I'm all good. Keep in mind, I had 4 days before I had to go back to work. A lot was happening, and I had no idea what was going on. So on that 4th day, I went back to work, and that's when I found out the manager had hired her sister, and her sister was scheduled full-time hours, and I had 2 days a week on my schedule. And I also noticed that the front desk was packed full of girls. And I'm just like, what is going on? What is going on here? Apparently, while I was off that 4 days, the Texas Workforce Commission, contacted my business about me applying for temporary benefits. What happened? I was called into the office, and I was terminated. I have never had a write-up of any kind. I've never been, corrected or anything at work. I've never been written up, not once. But she's going to, terminate me. So I was like, oh, boy. So on that same day, my husband had a horrible car accident. So after being terminated, I drove directly to the accident scene where my husband was waiting to be with him. And then I went home and I contacted the Texas Workforce Commission again. And I told her everything that happened. And I said, I now need to apply for full benefits. And the lady on the phone's like, you mean to tell me you applied for temporary benefits and then you go back to work and you were terminated? I said, yes, ma'am. Was she like, is there any other reason you were terminated? I told her I've never been written up, but she did hire her sister and give her full-time hours. She said, no worries. On your file date, when you request your payment, just put that you worked no hours and we will fix it for you. I'm like, oh, okay. So on the date that I requested my payment, I requested it. It said there was an issue and that I needed to call a number. So the next day I checked, still no payment. And I called that number. And when I called the number, the lady at Texas Workforce Commission had told me that it shows that your payment is under investigation. Check back, check your, call the request hotline and check back in a couple of days. And if you don't hear anything or get anything, give us a call. So with that, I'm going to end it here, and then we're going to go part 2. Hang tight. Don't go anywhere. Smell you in a minute.